Peace has finally prevailed, or has it?
We will target the infrastructure of the
Israel is
The
doubling
long-awaited
down.
ceasefire
through
in
the
Iran
security
is
fence
already on
separating
shaky
Gaza
ground.
and Israel.
As of 8th of March 2026, a 2-week ceasefire has been agreed upon by the US and Iran. Apparently, upon the request of the puppet kept in position by a terrorist army with a nation.
President Trump announced on Truth Social that he will suspend bombing in Iran for 2 weeks. This after Pakistan's Prime Minister called President Trump to extend his deadline.
A nation where
more than half of the Pakistan is quite gay actually. They don't want to just say it out loud, but I guess 80% of Pakistan is gay and the remaining 20% are bisexuals.
well, that's their business. Don't forget, this peace-loving, always exploding
Massive explosion at a Shiite mosque in Islamabad.
8 killed, 17 injured in a suspected suicide bombing.
12 people have been killed in an explosion near a crowded courthouse in the capital Islamabad.
never accountable neighbor of ours has also been a puppet of the United States.
As Islamabad was trolled left, right and centre as Trump's literal puppet.
Since the time it became a terrorist regime, a nation. But वहाँ संविधान कौन follow करता है यार? Anyway, it is however great to see that the innocent people of Iran are not subjected to the extinction level threat by the tanned blondie with a nuclear football.
जिस राह पे तुम चल रहे हो बेटा, एक दिन पूरी तरह फंसोगे.
The Iranians did give a withstanding reply to both US and Israel.
devastating attacks by the Iranian armed forces against the military and centers associated with the criminal America will continue to be heavier.
But they also did participate in talks for ceasefire, which they were denying. As you must know, the demand presented by the Iranian regime is everything that the US went to war for. From allowing uranium enrichment to the control of the Strait of Hormuz. The tanned blondie says these demands can be negotiated. But he said the same thing about the Ukraine and Russian conflict. And yes, he says a lot of things.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. You know that.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know, you're a tough guy, Jeb.
I
have a great relationship with the blacks.
Here's what I think. This is a temporary breather, much required not just for Iran but also for the whole world, especially for those dependent on the trade going through the Strait of Hormuz, which our neighbor wants to rename.
Nobody's straight in Pakistan.
Pata nahi kyun? Under pressure by many nations around the world, US decided to talk.
Never in the history of warfare has an enemy suffered such clear and devastating large-scale losses in a matter of weeks.
But will this be enough to stop this perpetual cycle of fighting? That, I think, is only possible when the perpetual cycle of hate ceases to exist. And that doesn't seem possible. Iran's goals of wiping Israel from the face of the earth probably still remains. And most likely, it has been emboldened.
We will target the infrastructure of the United States and its allies to deprive them of the region's oil and gas for years.
The regime, once back in full swing, would still continue to fund the elements that attack Israel. And Israel really loves to exist. I mean, who would not? So, the temporary ceasefire, these so-called negotiations, these marginal agreements are good for a time being. But they do not give an ultimate solution and they do not consider what Israel would do to protect itself. But how did we get here? Israel is at war after October 7's terrorist attack by Hamas.
Hamas launched the biggest ever terror attack on Israel. Palestinian organizations stormed through the security fence separating Gaza and Israel and killed over 1,000 people, wounded nearly 7,500, and took at least 250 people hostage.
Which was backed, motivated, inspired, and funded by Iran. It's a fact all parties, including Iran, agree to. Russia and Ukraine are locked in a long, grinding conflict since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And closer home, tensions along the Durand line continue to simmer, like the earth is about to be scorched. But here's the uncomfortable truth. These wars didn't start in 2023 or 2022. They started years, sometimes decades before the first bullet was even fired. We must never forget one thing. Wars are never sudden. They are engineered, escalated, and then always justified. And the common people, as always, are just pawns. Sometimes even those who are fighting it, maybe in the name of security, resources, or even religion. Maybe you hold the gun, but the trigger is hijacked by much greater powers. You just don't realize it. So where do we stand today? Let's break it down. West Asia is no longer a contained conflict, as we discussed in the beginning of this video. What began after the October 7 Hamas attack is no longer just Israel responding to Hamas inside the Gaza Strip. It is now part of a much larger regional design, where Iran operates through proxies like Hezbollah, and the United States backs Israel with military presence and deterrence. And US is also directly in the war, the first time after Afghanistan, and that too under the great outlier president of American history, Donald Trump.
They don't know what the they're doing.
You're not gonna raise that price.
I don't give a We'll beat the out of them. We're gonna knock the out of ISIS.
This is no longer a single war. It has already gone intercontinental. This is a network of conflicts where one more escalation can ignite an entire region, even after this temporary ceasefire. At the same time, Europe is witnessing its longest and most draining war since World War II. While it is suffering from the ills of mass immigration,
it's been 10 years since more than 1 million people crossed into Europe seeking safety.
And rising internal crisis causing safety issues for women and children and rising crime rates.
The European Parliamentary Research Service has warned that gang violence is increasing in the...
To think that European countries now have no-go zones is something. But remember, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is not just about territory. It is about power, influence, and the future of global alignment. What we are seeing is not just Russia versus Ukraine, but a prolonged confrontation between Russia and a NATO-backed system. The fight between Russia's sphere of influence with America's sphere of influence. This war has by now disrupted global energy flows, triggered inflation across continents.
Sudden spike in US gasoline prices felt by American consumers is set to be on full display in key inflation data due out this week.
And redefined how modern wars are fought through drones, sanctions, and economic pressures, but also memes.
Here comes the heat from the USA! Boom! Pins down! What a strike! Who do you think you are?
There is no quick victory here, only slow exhaustion. Closer home, the situation is even more fragile and far less discussed.
GDP projections slashed from 6.8% to 6% for 2026-27.
The ever so peaceful Pakistan today is not just a rival nation for India.
पाकिस्तान के आतंकी मंसूबों को देश ने ऐसा जवाब दिया, भारत की ताकत की गूंज पूरी दुनिया तक गई।
It is also an enemy for Afghanistan and many others. It is a state under pressure, economically,
when it comes to countries like Pakistan struggling with a fragile economy,
strained politically.
Uzair Baloch's political group, the People's Aman Committee, was actually banned by the Pakistani government under anti-terror laws.
Unstable and internally insecure. Probably like the mind of its real supreme leader, Asim Munir, who gets promoted after losing every battle.
Mullah Munir, if he doesn't escalate, the Pakistani mobs will lynch him. The Pakistani army will do a coup.
There was rumors of that too last night.
And there are very strong rumors of that happening. Ye invisible ho gaya hai. This man is scared.
At the same time, Afghanistan, now under the Taliban, is no longer aligned with Pakistan the way it once was, and has become a much greater friend of India, which has surprised both the right wings outside the country and left wings inside our country. The fault lines of the Durand Line, as you know, has re-emerged.
To Afghanistan, which has now begun carrying out strikes against Pakistan in response to the recent Pakistani airstrikes that was carried out in the Afghan territory.
With rising tensions and cross-border frictions, bombs are dropping and innocent lives are taken without a single thought. What we are witnessing here is not just conflict. It is the breakdown of the old control systems. This is not a coincidence. This is a phase where proxy wars are replacing direct wars. Regional instability is spreading and global power equations are quietly being rewritten. And in the middle of all this, India stands not as a participant in chaos, but as a country navigating it with calculated distance.
We welcome the ceasefire reached and hope that it will lead to a lasting peace.
Master diplomacy, unheard of balancing techniques and strategic clarity. That's why India did not request anyone for anything.
ये नया हिंदुस्तान है, ये घर में घुसेगा भी और मारेगा भी.
This is not a coincidence. This is a global realignment the Modi way. Sorry, the Indian way. Now, the real question. How does this affect India? India today is in a rare position.
The 7th of May 2025, India unleashed Operation Sindoor.
We enjoy strong ties with Russia in defense and energy, the United States in technology and strategy, and with Israel again in defense and intelligence.
A warm welcome for Narendra Modi from Benjamin Netanyahu as he arrived in Israel.
This is not neutrality. This is strategic independence. But this is not camping under one power as well.
India obviously is one of the world's largest and most influential countries.
Prime Minister is betting on the people of India and their energy and their faith and their nationalism. We must not let that faith down.
Not making one power your enemy can also be a choice, while befriending everyone is a new thing the world has learned through India and its foreign policy. But the risks are also real. Oil prices crashed by West Asia instability equals to rising crude equals to inflation in India.
Last year, in fact, it was around 2.4%. So almost double is the inflation number that we are talking about as far as this report is concerned.
Trade route disruptions in Red Sea, European corridors is costly and unavoidable. Security threats caused by instability in Pakistan and Afghanistan belt directly impacts India. Will India enter any war? Highly unlikely. But are we safe from the consequences? The answer is no. Prices will rise if conflicts prolong, supply chains will get hit, markets will fluctuate. But no, this is not a 2020 style lockdown scenario. Well, until the fake blondie loses his
Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump.
This is a slow burn global tension, not a sudden shutdown. So, are we closer to a nuclear war? Closer than before, perhaps. Yes. Is it probable? No, because nuclear war has only one rule. There are no winners.
On August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., Hiroshima time, and at an altitude of 31,600 feet. Just 5 minutes later, two words come through clearly on a radio at the Tinian Air Base. The mission has been accomplished.
And every major power knows that. Nuclear powers don't fight because of the mutually assured destruction, not because they are friends. So what is the most dangerous thing right now? Not missiles, not armies, narratives. Because today, wars are fought on ground, but justified in media and manipulated in public perception. If you control the narrative, you control the justification. And for the generations to come, you dictate what they learn from history that you created. So as an Indian, before you question things that make you unhappy because two madmen are fighting each other thousands of kilometers away from your home, think again. Think why, and then think, is it good for your own country? Now, let's talk about our neighborhood honestly. Think about Pakistan. Economic collapse, internal terror issues, military versus civilian instability, jailed PM, failed courts, failed economy. Afghanistan, not aligned with Pakistan anymore.
Afghan Taliban forces have reportedly captured a Pakistani security outpost.
Border tensions are rising. Taliban in power, human rights violations every single day. This is not just instability. This is a power vacuum. And history shows power vacuums don't stay empty for long. And yet, India stands different. In a continent filled with religious states, military regimes, controlled democracies, dictatorships, well, real ones, missiles, drones, bombs, and sanctions, India remains plural, diverse, functioning, powerful, progressive, inclusive, affirmative, developing. Not so-called secular, where truth is diluted for comfort, but a civilization that has absorbed, adapted, and survived for thousands of years. The world is entering a phase where alliances will shift, conflicts will increase, and nations will be tested not just by strength, but by their clarity and conscience. India's biggest advantage today is not just its military, it is its civilizational stability. India knows only with a powerful, growing, self-reliant and stable economy can we see this era of crisis through. And maybe the most uncomfortable question we should ask ourselves is, what if the majority of this country was not Hindu?
How do we just burn out this Hindu way of life? Because they thought it's another religion. I belong to one religion, so you must belong to another religion. How else? But that's what they never figured out. Who is the Pope? Let's kill him. That's the idea. So they said, no, there are hundreds of them. So they killed all the 100. But still it didn't die, because there was never a leadership. It's every individual seeking their own thing.
Would India still be this stable, this plural, for the lack of a better understood word, this tolerant, or would it look like the regimes around us? Because sometimes to understand what we have, we must look at what the world has become without it.